All right, so we're diving deep today, folks, and I mean
Dig
deep.
deep into self-love.
You got it. Self-love, we all know it's important, but
Absolutely.
honestly, where do we even start?
Right. It feels so big sometimes.
Like overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure.
But lucky for us, we found this incredible list.
Oh, yeah.
10 steps, 10 actionable steps to cultivate self-love.
Love a good actionable list. Makes it feel possible.
Totally. And one of these steps just jumped out at me.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Which one?
Embrace imperfection. Now, how can we love ourselves if we're focused on everything we need to fix?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We live in a world obsessed with perfection.
Filtered photos, perfect bodies, perfect lives.
Ugh, it's exhausting and so far from reality.
So how do we break free from that?
Yeah.
Embrace our imperfections. What does that even mean?
It means recognizing that those imperfections, those quirks, those so-called flaws, they're part of what makes us unique.
It's like accepting ourselves as we are right now.
Exactly. Not some future idealized version of ourselves, but the perfectly imperfect us right here, right now.
I love that. Perfectly imperfect.
And this acceptance, this embracing of imperfection, it's the foundation for something really powerful.
What's that?
Self-compassion.
Oh, self-compassion. That makes sense.
We're often so much harder on ourselves than we would ever be on a friend.
So true. If a friend made a mistake, we'd be supportive, understanding. But when we mess up,
We beat ourselves up. That inner critic comes out in full force.
and that doesn't exactly scream self-love, does it?
Not at all. Self-compassion is about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we'd offer a loved one.
So when we mess up, we acknowledge it, we learn from it, and we move on.
Without the self-judgment, without the harsh criticism.
Okay, I can see how that ties into self-love. So we're accepting ourselves, flaws and all, and treating ourselves with kindness.
Exactly. And another key ingredient in the self-love recipe is setting boundaries.
Boundaries. Okay, that's interesting. Tell me more about that.
It's about recognizing our needs, our limits, and having the courage to honor them.
Even if it means saying no to others.
Exactly. Saying no can be so hard, especially for those of us who are people pleasers.
But it's essential for protecting our well-being, right?
Absolutely. When we consistently prioritize our needs and values, it sends a powerful message
What message?
that we respect ourselves, that we are worthy of care and consideration.
It's like we're finally putting ourselves first.
And that's a huge part of self-love. Putting ourselves first doesn't mean we're selfish. It means we're recognizing our own worth.
Wow. I'm really seeing self-love in a whole new light. We've talked about embracing imperfections, practicing self-compassion, setting boundaries. And there's this other step in the list that really speaks to me.
Oh, which one is that?
Gratitude? Cultivating gratitude.
Ah, yes. Gratitude. It's like a superpower, honestly.
I love that. A superpower.
Because it shifts our focus. Instead of dwelling on what we lack, we start appreciating what we have.
Even the small things.
Especially the small things. That warm cup of coffee in the morning, a sunny day, a good conversation with a friend.
It's about finding those little sparks of joy in everyday life.
And when we do that, our whole perspective changes. We feel more content, more at peace.
It's like we're training our brains to focus on the positive.
Exactly. And that shift in mindset can have a ripple effect on our entire lives.
Okay, so we've laid some groundwork. We're embracing imperfections, practicing self-compassion, setting boundaries, and cultivating gratitude.
Sounds like a solid foundation for self-love to me.
But where do we go from here?
Now we step into the empowering aspects of self-love, the things that allow us to truly flourish.
I'm ready. Tell me more.
It starts with believing in yourself, truly believing in your capabilities and your potential.
That sounds so simple, but I think a lot of us struggle with that.
Absolutely. It can be a real challenge. We have those negative voices in our heads, the self-doubt that creeps in.
So how do we quiet those voices and start believing in ourselves?
It's a process. It's about becoming aware of those negative thoughts and consciously choosing to replace them with positive ones.
Like affirmations.
Exactly. Remind yourself of your strengths, your accomplishments, your unique talents.
And celebrate those wins. Don't let them pass by unnoticed.
Yes. Celebrating your achievements, big or small, reinforces that belief in yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we're building ourselves up, recognizing our worth, and surrounding ourselves with positivity. What else does this list have in store for us?
Well, speaking of surrounding ourselves with positivity, point number 7 is all about choosing our company wisely.
Our company. You mean the people we spend time with?
Exactly. The people we surround ourselves with have a huge impact on our self-perception and our overall well-being.
So we should be hanging out with people who lift us up, who support us, who encourage us,
Absolutely. People who believe in us, who inspire us to be our best selves.
and maybe distancing ourselves from those who bring us down.
Sometimes that's necessary, even if it's difficult. Remember, setting boundaries is a form of self-love.
Right. That ties back to what we were talking about earlier. So self-love can sometimes mean walking away from relationships that are no longer serving us.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing our own well-being, even if it means making tough choices.
Okay, I'm seeing the bigger picture here. Now, this next step on the list, it always feels a bit tricky to me.
Which one is that?
Forgiveness. It's a loaded word, isn't it?
It is. And it's often misunderstood. Forgiveness isn't about condoning hurtful actions or pretending they didn't happen.
So what is it about?
It's about releasing ourselves from the burden of anger and resentment. It's about finding peace even when we've been wronged.
But how do we even begin to forgive, especially when the hurt is deep?
It's a process, and it takes time. Start by acknowledging the pain, allowing yourself to feel it fully.
Don't try to bury it or pretend it's not there.
Yeah, exactly. Then try to shift your focus from anger towards understanding.
Understanding. But how can we understand someone who's hurt us?
It's not about excusing their actions, but about trying to see the situation from their perspective. Maybe they were hurting too. Maybe they were acting out of their own pain.
So forgiveness isn't about them, it's about us.
In a way, yes. It's about releasing ourselves from the past so we can move forward with a lighter heart.
It's about choosing to heal.
Exactly. And that's an incredibly powerful act of self-love.
Wow, I never thought about it like that before. Okay, so we're forgiving ourselves, we're forgiving others. What's next on our self-love journey?
Next up, we have celebrating our achievements.
Oh, I love that. Sometimes we get so caught up in striving for the next goal that we forget to acknowledge how far we've already come.
Exactly. It's so important to pause and celebrate those wins, big or small.
It's like giving ourselves a pat on the back and saying, hey, I did that. I'm proud of myself.
Exactly. And that sense of pride, that recognition of our own strength and capability, it's a huge part of self-love.
It makes me think of that quote. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.
I love that. It's about acknowledging our resilience, our ability to overcome challenges.
So we're celebrating our wins, we're embracing our falls, and we're approaching it all with self-compassion.
Sounds like we're well on our way to cultivating a deep and lasting sense of self-love.
And we have one more step on our list, self-reflection. What role does self-reflection play in all of this?
Self-reflection is crucial for growth and understanding. It's about taking the time to look inward, examine our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors.
It's like checking in with ourselves, right? Seeing where we're at, what's working, what's not.
Exactly. And it's an ongoing process. Self-love isn't a destination, it's a journey of continuous learning and growth.
As we learn more about ourselves, we become better equipped to meet our own needs and nurture our well-being.
Absolutely. And that's what self-love is all about.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. We've explored 10 actionable steps to cultivate self-love, and it's clear that it's about so much more than bubble baths and face masks.
It's about creating a life that feels good from the inside out. It's about honoring ourselves, respecting ourselves, and treating ourselves with kindness and compassion.
So as you continue on your own self-love journey, I have one final thought for you to ponder.
Yeah.
What's one area of your life where a little deeper self-reflection could lead to even greater self-love? Take some time to explore that question and see where it leads you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep loving yourself.